Greetings, Ani, Bonjour, Kwekwe, Tanzi, Scano. It's Catherine and Brian from Moonstarlodge in South Central Ontario, Georgian Bay area, bringing you our Indigenous perspective on the all things cartomancy, but in particular we're doing a special video right now on the perigee new moon of March the 10th. So if you're new, welcome, and welcome back to our old friends. You will recognize that this is an additional video to the normal weekly videos that we post. I had said when I did a special video on the apogee full moon 2 weeks ago that I would follow up with the counterbalance, which is this perigee new moon on March the 10th. And it comes in at 05:02 a.m. and the grandmother associated with this new moon cycle is Luxfar woman. It is a super new moon, meaning it's a moon in perigee. What is that? Well, the orbit of the moon around the Earth is an ellipse. So it's oval. So that means that at certain times as the moon is circling the Earth, it is much closer to the Earth, and certain other times it's very far away. When the moon is in perigee or super, meaning it looks really big because it's close, it exerts greater gravitational pull on the Earth, and so it influences things like the tides. The tides are double, for example, in the Bay of Fundy on average. It affects us medically if you're prone to swelling, perhaps in your legs, or you're pregnant. We have known back in the day of women having ruptured membranes because of the pull of this kind of perigee supermoon. If you're prone to headaches, you might find yourself having greater intracranial pressure, and so it may impact your vision. And I'm doing this to prepare you, not to scare you, so that you know that you might have to adjust your activities or slow things down for this new moon. The energies always are about 2.5 days, so you've got a period on either side of the moon. Hence, Brian is putting this up for viewing on the 7th. The actual zenith points of this, I'm just checking my notes here, it would be bedtime on March the 8th. So about 1 a.m. we will be in the height of the pull of this perigee full moon, and it will run till about 9 a.m. on the 11th. There's still a day before that and a day on the other side where the energies will feel very intense. There's a lot of volatility that can happen if you're not prepared. And so we thought we'd do these extra videos to help people understand how to rise above the energies and use them to our maximum. New moons are always ritual times, and so you can tailor your personal rituals, whether they're Indigenous rituals or pagan rituals, Wiccan rituals, whatever you celebrate. But our introspective connection with the divine, however you do that for yourself. I mentioned last time in the special video for the full moon that in shamanic culture, which I'm part of, we tend to use an apogee moon when it's at the farthest end of its ellipse. We use that for journeying. Here we use this for manifesting and using the energies available to us for healing. So let me talk for a minute about Luxfar woman. She is the grandmother of this moon cycle. We're coming out of Ways the Truth, the one who's helping us determine what is really true for us on our life's walk and the road that we travel. Luxfar woman, I will read this for you, is the seer, the oracle, the dreamer, and the prophet, the keeper of the golden door and the crack in the universe, otherwise called the crack in the cosmic egg, the mother of visions, dreams, and psychic impressions, the guardian of the dream time, and the keeper of inner potential. She teaches us how to understand our visions, dreams, feelings, and impressions, how to enter the dream time and go into other realms and through the crack in the universe, how to properly use our psychic abilities and gifts of prophecy for humanity, how to use spiritual boundaries, psychic self-defense, and respect those boundaries in others, how to use our inner potential to become healed healers. She teaches us how to see the truth. In terms of her position as the fourth grandmother on the Wheel of 13, she normally, on a perfect year, would come in on the 13th of March, but this year it's the 10th, because every year the moon cycle's length changes. The moon cycle is called planting time. The totem and clan are owl and bear. So owl brings the wisdom of what to plant, and bear is the guardian of the perimeter, the guardian of the medicines that we are planting. This grandmother covers the time, of course. This fourth moon cycle covers spring equinox. So we move from Eagle in the east, and on spring equinox, which is the 20th this year, we move into Wabus, Coyote. The colors, if you were doing a ribbon skirt and or a ribbon shirt or something, medicine blanket, are green and pink. The root chakra is the focus of this grandmother. Dandelion is the plant. Earth is the element. And let me see what crystals would be good here. White crystals, red crystals, black and green for the root chakra. So ruby, ruby aura, rhodochrosite, hematite, riverstone, onyx, jasper, bloodstone, those kinds of crystals. So let's get that in our head space, that it's Luxfar woman. This is a time to expand our psychic gifts and our Gnostic consciousness. The decks I'm using for this special reading, as well as the reading for the 11th through the 17th, because we're starting that week still in new moon energy, are Oracle of the Universe, the Wandering Echo, the Queen of the Moon, Liminal Spirits, the Wandering Soul. Well, that's an oracle. Well, what else? The Buds, the Ancestors, the Wandering Moon Tarot, and the Healing Spirits Oracle. And it's interesting, this particular tarot has been in this form for some time, but Rachel Jean is retiring this one because she's just being bankrupted by counterfeiters. So she's come out with a proprietary traveling size of this particular tarot, and it's Hello Kitty pink. So, you know, she made me a deal I couldn't refuse, and it'll be here hopefully next week. Anyway, Brian, let's go to the cards. I have to be careful mentioning new decks coming so Brian doesn't throw up on his computer. All right, so we're starting. Here's our 7 tarot cards, and this is, remember, for specifically this new moon, sort of running from the 7th till basically the 12th. There's one each of the cards from the decks I mentioned, and we're starting with the 5 of Swords, which is often about battles. Now, if I follow the Gail Fairfield way of thinking of extrinsic versus intrinsic, it comes to me that these are intrinsic battles, that these energies, the perigee energies, could make a person a little wacky the first day or so as we're adjusting. And so there gets to be a lot of internal squirrel brain, a lot of stuff whipping around that doesn't make sense necessarily and is taking us down the proverbial rabbit hole. However, it's clarified here by this lovely card. This is the Queen of Rings, or the Queen of Earth. Pentacles, coins. This is an interesting dichotomy here. If we incorporate the energy of the Queen of Earth, who is very grounded and very much about spreading the benefits externally. Queens typically are intrinsic, but they're taking care. They're taking care of our material lives, our jobs, our homes, our money, our family, our relationships. So she's the one to help us out of this squirrel brain. And that's an important thing. So taking on the energies, or asking for the energies of the Queen of Pentacles, in this case the Queen of Rings, that ancestor. So it's going to the ancestor who can help us with our third dimensional domestic bliss, basically. Because following the 5 of Swords, we have the Page of Stars. Now in this deck, stars are also pentacles. So the page, what you might not be able to see clearly in this card, is the fact that this is a loving couple who are embracing from the stars. Again, stars are ancestor things. They're embracing, and it's grounding. This is about curiosity, being focused on the earth waking up, being really, really grounded. That's the way out of squirrel brain. One of the ways we get and stay grounded is to communicate. And this is with our spirit guides, teachers, angels, the archangels, the healers, the saints, if you work with saints, all those people in spirit, including ancestors. I note this planchette circle is very similar to the ring on the grandmother here. What happens if we get grounded? What happens if we get in a loving way with our partner and no fighting and no squirrel brain? We have the 4 of Wands, which is totally success. It can represent marriage, but it certainly represents the completion of a cycle of journey into a new way of thinking. Passionately, very much stable, creative, passionate endeavors. So this new moon energy can allow us to coalesce something that needs to be finished up. And it's clarified by the teacher, which in this deck is the same as the Hierophant. So we are learning new things, we are spreading our knowledge, we are able to teach others, and certainly that wouldn't happen if we stayed in this state. So this says it doesn't take very much of this energy to pull us, with the help of the ancestors, into a state of success and taking on the attributes of the teacher. The Seven of Swords is about stealth. It can be interpreted in some ways as theft, but in this instance, the other one is imposter syndrome. If we are taking on and completing things and taking on experience, being the teacher may make us feel like we're not worthy. And the we are not worthy is totally not cool. And it's clarified by cat. Now, before you jump, if you don't like cats and say, I don't like cats, what we're talking about here is the attributes that cats bring. Cats teach us about not caring what others think, that whatever we do, and it's nobody's business, that we have boundaries, that we're not worried about others. We do what we do when we want to do. Cats also teach us about curiosity, about play. The old if I fits, I sits. They experiment. Cats as a totem this week, or as a spirit helper, of what are called familiars. It's the energy of cat, the lessons of cat that we need to bring into this week. Now, I happen to have cats and I love cats, so that makes me laugh and recognize that what drives me crazy about them is exactly the set of attributes I need to take on to creatively move myself through any potential fear. Okay, so this fear is hearkening back to this internal squirrel brain. What we've got next is the Knight of Moons. I have read from other great tarot teachers that the greatest Don Juan paramour, the kind of lover or partner that you'd ever want, is the Knight of Moons or the Knight of Cups. Unfortunately, they can be rather shallow. But what they bring us as a skill set, if we take on this, what the Knight of Moons has to teach us, is that under no circumstances do you push away anything that relates to loving and joy and excitement and taking on new things with the embrace. That's the thing we need to embrace. And our spirit guides here say, this is the perfect time to do it. This ancestor reminds me of Thunderbird energy, with the energy coming out of the hands. This is healing. It's healing, it's lovingness, it's really quite beautiful. I had to get Brian to douse that the Ten of Swords actually belonged in this reading. And it does, because we are letting down these swords. We are putting them away. Whatever was in the past is done. It's done, it's done. There's a new path, a new bright beginning. One of the things I do like about the Rider-Waite-Smith, Pamela Coleman depiction of the Ten of Swords is that if you move beyond the image of the person that's been punctured, you see that there's a light on the horizon. We have to let go of the things that we mull over in our heads over and over again, the things that we believe that hold us back or should hold us back, because they don't. We let them down, we let them go. It's done. It's a new beginning. It's clarified here by this incredible bear. This is a constellation card about Ursa Major, and Ursa, of course, is Latin for bear, and it's about vows. This bear is calling out to the ancestors in the Northern Lights. We make vows when we do rituals. Rituals are statements of intent. I intend on moving forward with my life in a good and sacred way. I intend on, you fill in the blank. You make your ritual space. bears are so grounded that they actually live in dens underground for the winter in order to be enmeshed and be protected by Mother Earth in the winter, the way they protect the sacred medicines and the perimeters of territory when they are active and mobile. It's a reciprocal relationship. The Empress is the final card, and what a beautiful card that we could have to end this. Starting out in this state, Empress is about taking care of self. The Empress takes care of others, and it's about birthings and plenty and new beginnings and all those good things. She's kind of the same thing here as the Queen of Pentacles in a different form. She is the major arcana version of this court card. So self-care is very big with the Empress. You can't take care of others unless you take care of self. It's like I said last week's reading. In order to care for others, if you're on an airplane that's going down, you've got to put the oxygen mask on your face first. We cannot do for others if we're not setting our boundaries, if we're not protecting all this beautiful creation here. It's clarified by self-love. This is the waxing gibbous 4 moon. So self-love and self-respect are critical this week. So not beating up, not thinking of self as imposter, not getting into squirrel brain, but doing all the lovely grounding, acknowledging the successes, being in harmony, being like Cat, and listening to the ancestors and taking on. So bear is one of the totems of this month. Calling in your ceremonies this grandmother, looks far woman, to help you plan for what you're planting this month. It's planting moon, and what you're going to harvest 6 months or so after that. Okay, Brian, you can flip the camera. I hope this reading helps. I always post a picture of the decks used so people can see, and the cards in the layout. I actually keep the card layout for several days, sometimes even longer, just to go back and study it and think about what progress in the beginning I was needing to make, what did the layout suggest, but also later on, what have I accomplished from that? So this is going up a day before, day and a half before it really needs to, so that you have time to actually pull your consciousness together and formulate how you celebrate this perigee new moon. So as always, we thank you for staying through to the end and giving us a like on this video with the thumbs up, subscribing if you haven't already. Send me a coffee because, yeah, it just doesn't happen without coffee. And we wish you well. Aho, stay in touch.